your therapist won't take your calls anymore, there's always The Last Show with David Cooper.
How to fall back in love with your partner in 3 or 4 or 5 easy steps. That's the clickbait version of what we're going to talk about here with Gary Direnfeld, therapist, social worker. It is Therapy Thursdays on a Wednesday, broadcasting's only mental health-related segment intended for Thursdays that airs on Wednesdays. Wow, that's a mouthful. I think big romantic gestures seem just overwhelming. Like, what do I get my girlfriend for her birthday? I got to do a big thing, a big journey, a big gesture, and it can be exhausting, overwhelming. And guess what? You don't have to do it. You can do tiny gestures, micro romantic gestures, and that's what we're going to talk about here with Gary. Gary, welcome to the show and happy after Halloween.
Here's a micro gesture. Oh, David, thank you ever so much for that kind introduction.
Okay, great. You're welcome. Now we're in love. How was Halloween? You took out your grandkids, as I understand it?
It was great. We were with the family in Toronto, went around with our son, daughter-in-law, 3 grandkids. And I love living vicariously through the grandkids, through children. And it is such an exciting holiday for them. And maybe it's the sugar, maybe it's the costume, maybe it's being out late at night for them.
I think it's all the above.
It was wonderful. It was just wonderful.
What did your grandchildren dress up as?
Pokemon, I think it was Pokemon. Like one of the yellow... I don't even know what the hell they're
Pikachu, is that
called.
what you're talking about?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pikachu. Oh my! How do you know this? And I don't.
I'm 39. I'm a millennial. Pokemon was around when I was in high school.
Well, okay, there you go. So Pikachu. The other one was from the one of the K-pop singers from the show that's big on Netflix.
Yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and,
all my friends with kids tell me about it, and I can't make sense of it either. All right, so that's what they dressed up as.
And the little one was Spider-Man. He was in Seventh Heaven with his pajamas.
Lovely. I went line dancing, which took courage. I had a good attitude. I had to sit out a few of the dances because I could not keep up. But every dance I started. But then, everyone does a big turn 90 degrees or 180 degrees, and then they immediately start walking in that direction. And I kept getting bumped into because I couldn't follow the dance. It was too complicated. But it was fun, and I had a good attitude, and I line danced. So that was my Halloween. Okay.
I love that.
Micro romantic gestures. It doesn't have to be ordering every flower in the flower shop or, cooking your boyfriend a steak, a 5-course dinner. What it doesn't have to be huge things. It can be little things.
Yeah, it's crazy. To me, it's crazy. I guess other people are into this. But these engagements these days, going to prom, the asking has to... in some quarters, is this huge gesture that if it isn't splashed on social media, if it doesn't involve a troop of people, that somehow or other it isn't sincere. That is just not sustainable. And it's not where life is lived. Life is lived in the everyday interactions.
Micro-romance is the art of sustaining love through small, intentional acts of emotional connection. I interrupt to say you can do that in small ways. You don't just need to be a big kerfuffle.
My father died at age 60. My mom was in her mid to late 50s. Never thought she'd remarry, but 4 years later, when she was on a vacation in California, she met someone. I picked her up at the airport after a 5-hour return flight home. And it's like she was still up in the air. She was so happy. She was bouncing. I said, Mom, what's going on? She turns to me and says, I met a man. I couldn't believe it. And she was worried how I would accept someone other than our father in her life. That wasn't an issue. And I said, well, if you've met a man, is this going to be serious? Where are you at with this? And then she says, it's really good, but I don't know how he puts the toilet paper on the
wrong way?
dispenser yet. Yeah. I don't like. And then she says, your dad used to squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom of the tube. I used to squeeze it from the middle. And it drove your father crazy.
These are microaggressions, not micro.
So she says, I don't know if I'm ready to break in another man. But what she was talking about is where life is actually lived. It's lived in the micro.
I use the phrase microaggression wrong. That's sort of like a racial prejudice thing, but you know what I meant.
Yeah.
Life is those calm, not that big deal moments where you show another person you care about them. It's not, the proposal at the Yankee Stadium or at the Sky Dome or what do they call it, the Rogers Center or whatever. It's in those small moments, and also your frustrations with someone, I feel like, can build up in those small moments too.
Exactly, and that's what my mother was alluding to. Is it going to go this way? Is it going to go that way? How will life be lived in those smaller moments? And is that sustainable? And you know what? I encourage people to think about that, because when you marry a person, you marry all of their habits. You marry everything about them. You don't get the good side without the bad side. And hopefully, between that good and the bad, or the good and the, challenging, there isn't that great a difference, and the challenging part isn't too significant. So mostly we're talking about otherwise close to reasonable marriages or relationships here. And we're asking people to be mindful of the small stuff. There used to be a phrase, don't sweat the small stuff. Sweat the small stuff. Absolutely. If you want truly a sustainable, loving, caring, mutually satisfying relationship, sweat that small stuff.
You've got to notice your partner. You've got to make them feel like they're seen in tiny ways every day. I think that's like one of the big things that fades when the honeymoon phase of a relationship is over, like the attention. And
Yes.
you don't need to be like explosive and give someone 150% of your attention of all times like you did the first week you met them. But like when they come in through the door at the end of the day, wow, I'm quoting Barbra Streisand, you don't bring me flowers. Which is a song about those little ways that we notice our partner going away. Like, you don't bring me flowers. You hardly talk to me anymore. When you come through the door at the end of the day. I just mean those little things.
My wife, Arlene, she looks at me differently when we are talking if I put my phone down.
Well, yeah. Put the effing phone down.
Well, no kidding. But I'm just trying to give clues to people listening to our conversation. These are the micro behaviors we can engage in that signify you are important to me. I care with what you're talking about, what you're saying. I put my phone down, and she's instantly more engaged, instantly happier with whatever we're discussing, even if the discussion is about what I got wrong that day.
I think my girlfriend Miranda is lovely. I think she's attractive, but sometimes I notice these things and I won't say like, you're looking really hot right now, or that part of your body is great. Eyes. She has beautiful eyes. You got to like say these little nice things that you notice. Otherwise your partner's going to feel like you don't notice them. And that's such a little thing. Just verbalize the little things you see about them.
Yes. And I'll give you another example.
After the break, we're here with Gary Direnfeld talking about micro romance. Gary's going to give you another example of ways in which you can notice your partner. We're discussing the how-to of keeping the romance alive without exhausting gestures. It's Therapy Thursdays on a Wednesday, and Gary is very impressed with how I just shut him up. We'll be back.
The show that makes you laugh, think, and occasionally uncomfortable. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Being a micro-romantic, I know that sounds small, but through those small acts of emotional connection, you can be a good partner. You can get the spark alive. Your gestures don't have to be huge. You can do sweet and kind and little things throughout the day to make you that micro-romantic. We are here with Gary Direnfeld. It is Therapy Thursdays on a Wednesday. Honestly, one of my favorite times of the week with one of my favorite people of the week, if that makes sense. Gary, welcome to the show.
It's a bromance.
It is. All right, we're talking about little ways that you can notice your partner, because I feel like that can fade. Like when you start dating someone, you're all in, yet they have all your attention. Then you move in together, you got your jobs, maybe you got your kids, you got your life that gets in the way, and you forget to notice the little things that can make someone feel so good about the relationship. Yeah,
and one of those little things is just our manners. Just saying please, saying thank you, expressing appreciation. You know, when we do that, when we make eye contact and say thanks, that was really helpful, appreciate it. It signals to the other person that they are valued. And if you signal that I'm of value, of worth to you, that elevates the relationship.
Do you have some example of that? I thought you were going to sell us a good example before the break, or you just wanted to get that point out?
I just want to get that in. Look, Arlene and I, we will make each other tea or coffee every morning. And I won't have my tea. I will set up the kettle. I'll set up the coffee maker. She's coffee, I'm tea. But I actually won't pour myself a cup of tea if I get up before her until she's up, so that we have it together each and every morning.
Oh, that's so sweet. I guess I make coffee for Miranda every morning. I guess I'm a romantic.
Yeah, and listen, if she hasn't gotten up and I got some stuff to do, I prepare it. The only thing she has to do is push the button down on the coffee maker or the kettle, but her cup is set up, my cup is set up. You know, part of the micro gestures is what I call running block and tackle for each other. We what I mean by that is we're on the same team, going in the same direction, and if there's something oncoming that can take either one of us out of the game, so to speak, we deal with it on each other's behalf. So I don't leave crap in the sink. I clean up after myself. My wife isn't tripping over me. I'm not tripping over her. This is what I mean by running block and tackle. No one is ever going to disrespect my wife in my company, because if they were, they're going to hear from it. And including, grandkids being grandkids. Sometimes they get angry at the grandparents because we're setting a boundary. So if a child were to talk rudely to Arlene, and I've done this, I look at the child and I go, "Excuse me, you're talking that way to my wife?" The child stops dead in their tracks. But I got to tell you, I know that Arlene appreciates it.
Well, let's talk about appreciation and showing your partner that you're grateful for what they do. I'm reading this article about micro romance, and one relationship expert, I don't know what their qualifications are, but I kind of like this idea, maintains that you should keep a 5-to-1 appreciative acknowledgement to negative comment ratio. So if you have to criticize Arlene and say, "Honey, you left the dishes in the sink and that's annoying," that should only ever happen at a 5-to-1 ratio of appreciative and grateful comments.
That ratio is an old story. We talk about that in management. We talk about that in raising children, and it certainly applies to our intimate relationships as well. You can be critical. You can offer, you can have difficult conversations. The thing is, if that's the only basis for your communication, then you're going to undermine the relationship. So the message here is, sure, address the difficult things, but make sure that you're also commenting on the positives as well, so that the person appreciates that you get all of them, not just the negative stuff.
Like, and little things like acknowledging what they do. Like, hey, thanks for cooking tonight. Thanks for taking out the trash. Thanks for changing the cat's cone because he got food all over it because the cat is currently injured and he's been licking his injury. It's for a friend. That's not an example of what's happening in my household right now. You can appreciate their presence in your life. Like, I love having you around, or it's wonderful to be at this event with you. You can, I don't know, thanking them.
This is where life is lived. I also know that for Arlene, when we go for a walk, I'm not particularly a hand holder. Okay, my arms swing when I walk. I'm that person.
You're a gorilla.
But that's one of my nicknames, Gorilla. From Gary Gorilla.
That's for the Gary After Hours podcast where he talks about his gorilla sexy persona.
So when Arlene and I are out walking, wherever it may be, I will consciously take her hand. And look, she loves it. That's the only reason to do it. And if you do these micro gestures, believing they must be reciprocated, a tit for tat, then you have a transactional relationship. If you do it benevolently, just for the sake of doing it, then hopefully you foster a caring relationship, not a transactional relationship.
My partner Miranda, she's got like a label for people who are always like, I did this for you, therefore you have to do that for me. I did 7 chores for you today. Yes. You got to do 7 for me. She calls people like that counters, and nobody likes a counter.
Exactly. So if you're engaging in these micro behaviors, don't be a counter. Don't throw that count in your partner's face, because you'll immediately undermine anything to do with it. What you can do if you feel like you're missing out on some of this is express that as information, not as a put down or anger or sarcasm. So you can say, and I've helped couples to have this discussion where one just looks at the other and says, I miss you. I just miss you. And when I miss you, I get angry for you not being available to me. And I don't want you to live with my anger. I just want more FaceTime with you.
Or you can just send them a copy of this show, and they can hear great tips for how to be micro-romantic. It reminds me of this comedian's album, Red Fox. He was a real filthy comedian.
Yeah, I remember.
He has an album called You Gotta Wash Your Behind. And his premise is everyone's behind is smelly. You gotta wash it if you're being intimate with someone before you're intimate. And then he said, in the comedy album, he says, you should send your partner this album if they've got a dirty behind in the mail anonymously. And he's like, and if you both receive the album at the same time, you both need, it's so vulgar. As I describe it on the radio, I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. But send your friends a copy of the show.
And David, life is lived in the bedroom as well. And hygiene is an important part of relationships. If you're not intimate, hygiene may be a factor. Brush your teeth before intimacy. Wash your body. Be mindful of your odors.
Oh, God. Be mindful of your odors. Brush your teeth.
This is
I'm going to go shower at the break.
Micro demonstrations of where are we going with this show? This is demonstrating care and concern for your partner, too.
Well, the train is off the rails, but Gary, to assume that it was ever on the rails, I think would be a mistake. I appreciate you being here. Micro-romantic gestures. It was a good topic. Gary Direnfeld, thank you again. Therapy Thursdays on a Wednesday. I've got nothing left to say other than I appreciate you being here.
Love you, my friend.